Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared, and this is my top 5 favorite knives in my knife collection from Artisan or CJRB. Now, this is just an honorable mention. I had to redo my opening of this video. My audio got messed up, so let's continue into the video where my audio was messed up. Because Artisan makes CJRB. CJRB is the budget knives of Artisan. Artisan is a USA company that makes knives overseas. I believe the owner lives in California. But yeah, so they make knives overseas and they got some pretty cool knives. I would like to get more on my channel, but as far as right now, this is my top 5. Now, this is just this one right here. This is the CJRB CRAG. This is an honorable mention. I recently got this. Somebody sent it to me, and it's pretty awesome. It's a pretty good knife. I know they do have the recoil lock. The recoil lock is a locking system back here. It is definitely a stronger locking system than a liner lock, but I haven't tried that out, but I have tried this liner lock version. There is multiple different versions of this, and I'll try to link whatever I can down in the description for you guys if you guys do want to pick up any of these models for yourself. But just know there's multiple different versions of this knife right here. This happens to be the one in ARRPM9 steel, which is Artisan's powdered steel. It's their proprietary steel. They made it, and it's basically a powdered version of 9CR. Let's get to the next honorable mention, which is the Artisan Proponent. Now, this one's not a CJRB like the last one. This one's an actual Artisan model. This one also has multiple different versions. This one is the brass version, which is, this thing is redonkulously heavy. This thing's very, very heavy. I mean, it's a big knife. I mean, you can see this thing is a monster. But it is more of a harder use knife. Now, you would look at this liner lock and say, yeah, right. Because it does have a small liner lock, but it does have a very strong lockup. And it's actually a pretty solid liner. However, it has this pin right there where you can, I actually got it in the box, but you put a pin in there and it basically turns this thing into a fixed blade. And you can see by the blade stock thickness and grind, this thing is definitely more of a harder use knife. Now, it is a flipper. The detent is a little light, but it's still very easy to flip. And then you have the thumb studs, which actually work probably the best in my opinion. It kicks pretty hard. Then you also have the fuller that you can reverse flick off of. But the liner is very easy to get to. The drop is very smooth. And like I said, there's multiple different versions of this, right and left hand carry. Now, one more little tiny, just a small little mention. We have the little CJRB MAILEAH. This is a little guy or little gal because it is designed by Swags. And she's got a couple designs out here in the knife community now. And this is a front flipper and thumb stud knife. The detent is very crisp on this knife. And yeah, pretty awesome little knife. Now, I've noticed something about some of the CJRB knives. They like late lockup. Not late. Not early lockup is where I'm trying to get to. A lot of knives usually sit right around here for the lockup. They usually sit right about the 50 to 60%. Now, I don't think there's a problem with that as long as it doesn't keep moving, because a lot of times in the knife community, we look at that as not a good thing. Because when a liner locks up when you first get it, you know, especially if you're going to be opening and closing it a lot, that lock bar is going to keep smacking over. So having nice early lockup means you have a lot of life for that lock bar to work its way over. When it starts late, well, then you only have that much left to go. Now, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I've seen lots of knives live and survive for years and years with the same lockup. It all just depends on the lock face geometry and everything else, you know, and how fast it wears. Now let's get to my top 5 knives from Artisan and CJRB, starting with the Sea Snake by my friend Mike Emler. He is the designer of this knife. They actually just did an exclusive There was only a certain amount of pieces. I think there might be a couple left if you want to get one. They are a little pricey, but it's in micarta and S35EM. This one's in their AR RPM 9 steel and G10. I like this little guy because it's a little razor, and gripping like this, if you look when I turn my hand, this part of the handle just sits nestled right in the crook of my hand, and like I can kind of get like this little pinch grip right there. And I mean, I can do the most finest little details with this thing, whether it's in the pinch grip, the utility cutting grip, and you know, if you do need to slice anything, it works really good. The geometry is amazing. It's like 15 thousandths behind the edge, nice thin blade stock. It's a great slicer. It is thin in the hand, so on the hip, I know this has got a neck piece on it, but I haven't carried it on the hip, you know, but I did carry a different one on the hip. But I'm saying this one in particular, I haven't carried on the hip, but they carry really good on the hip. It's just so slim that you don't have to really worry about it. I've carried this in my pocket. I have carried it around the neck. It's a little big for the neck, but it works great in the pocket. All right, next. The next one is the CJRB FELDSPAR. I like it so much that I wound up giving my mini to my nephew for his birthday. Because this is the full-size version. Now they have multiple different versions, you know, like a lot of these knives, multiple different versions. Same thing with the Sea Snake. There's different colored G10s. And in this example, there is D2, ARPM 9. This one has contoured scales. This one has flat. There's just a lot of different versions. So you can basically get, you know, however you want it. Now, same thing, you know, this one's not, I guess this one's not so late. This one's actually really good. That one's pretty early still. This one's about as usual as a typical CJRB knife, but the action on these are really good. The thumb stud is placed in a great spot for the reverse flick, also for the Spidey flick. The contoured one's action is really good, and this is very comfortable in the hand. It just works perfect in the hand, whether it's the flat one or the contoured one. The contoured one does fill the hand a little bit more than the flat one, but the flat one also, it adds more traction. So, you know, it's kind of hard to say. Somebody asked me which one I like more. It's difficult. It's difficult to say because this one, like I said, it adds a little traction in the hand and it feels really solid in the hand. You don't feel like you could lose it. This one is a little slicker, but it's more contoured, so it's a little more palm filling. But the geometry is a little robust, but not bad, right? Like there's very slicey, slightly robust, and then, you know, hard use robust. This is in the mid-range where it's decent. The blade stock is a decent thickness, and then the edge is like 20 thousandths behind the edge, so it's not too bad. I think it might be like 22 thousandths, something like that, but still slicey enough to be a good slicer. And since it's almost a full flat grind, you can really lay the edge back on these and make them a really, really good slicer. The small one is amazing too. I mean, very snappy little detent. They're very smooth. They are, you know, drop shutty with their ceramic bearings. Awesome little knives, and they have micarta versions of these, and CJRB or Artisan has some really good quality micarta, very good quality. Next, the CJRB Scoria. I really like this one. That's why it's in the place it's in. This thing is amazing. Now, the thing with it is that they only have this version and then a micarta version. The micarta version is a red coral micarta. It's basically a burgundy micarta. The action is insane on it, really good. The thumb studs are well placed, a lot like the FELDSPAR over there, but just well placed. Very, very well tuned detent. The access to the lock bar is really nice. Ceramic caged bearings that are very smooth. The reverse flick is great. The detent is in a nice spot too. The thumbs or the flipper tab, very, very well tuned as well. And what I meant was when you unlock it, it's nice and early, so you can always get past that detent without fumbling around on it. Very, very nice action. The detent, you can hear it. Very, very well tuned for all the deployments. Now, this is very thin though. Look at this. Look at how thin this guy is. And you can really feel how thin it is when you get it in hand. It is very, very thin, but it's got a good height to it, and it is slightly contoured. So it's very comfortable in the hand. Nice choke up spot for nice push cuts. It does have the ARRPM 9 steel, titanium milled pocket clip that works great, and a titanium thumb stud and pivot collar. So, you know, a little bit of those little touches are really nice, and it's just a solid knife. And I've been kind of getting myself back into flippers again. For some reason, I've been really attracted to flippers. But all right, next one. Messed that one up. The Artisan. I like to reverse flick this one. The Artisan. Was the Man, now I can't remember the name of it. The Artisan Centaurion? Is that right? No. The Artisan Centauri. There's just so many names for knives, and there's also a Centaurion or something like that. Not from this company, from another one, though. But it is a top flipper. Now, this is an Artisan, so this is a little bit more premium. S35 VN blade steel. And it is a flat ground Wharncliffe style, or modified Wharncliffe, because it's not perfectly flat, but it is a very useful blade shape. Titanium with micro milling, very nice micro milling, titanium milled pocket clip. And then we have the titanium backspacer. And this is a Ray Laconico design. I like Ray Laconico's designs. He has some really simple yet awesome designs. Now, the front flipper works great on this. The detent is light, and that's why I can easily reverse flick it. Very drop shutty, but I do wish they would have put one more jimping right there, because this little top piece right there, that's slippery. So you do kind of got to get it right here with your thumb, and then it works great. You can also top flip it like that with the reach around and the reverse flick. Now, the access to the lock bar is not very good. I did think about making a little cutout right here, and I probably will in the future. I just kind of grip it right from the front like this. Instead of going from the side like this, I kind of just put my finger right on the front like that. It works. It's not too bad, but it's not great. I wish they would have made a cutout there. Now, it carries really good. It slices really good. It is very thin, though. Holy cow, is this thing thin. You really feel it in your hand. When you get it in your hand, you can tell. You're like, man, this thing is thin. So it's not going to be a hard user because you don't have the ergos for that, but it's comfortable enough to be a fantastic EDC knife. This is an amazing EDC knife. It comes in multiple different versions. They got an all-tie version, a micarta version. I wish I would have got the micarta version. Or another one, you know, like the micarta version, because I really like their micarta, man. They have really good micarta. When this one came out, though, I don't think they had the micarta version yet. I don't think they did. But anyways, they also have a mini. The mini one is also in micarta, and I think that's the only one they have for the mini. I'm not sure. I don't think they have like the full tie or anything. Maybe they do. I'm not positive. You got to kind of look around. I'm going to link some below if possible. I don't know if I can link this or not. But one thing I really like is the sharpening choil. They give you a lot of life to sharpen off of it. The satin's really beautiful, and it's just an awesome knife. Well made too. Well done. Last but not least, the Artisan Aureon. Now this one is in the burgundy micarta, the same knife I was telling you about, the Scoria. It has this same micarta, so you can get this knife with this micarta on it if you want, with the black blade. It looks really nice. I wish they did the green micarta though, because that would be the version I'd really like to get. But very, very nice, or a well-tuned detent for the reverse flick. Very, very easy to reverse flick. You can thumb flick it. It's not as enjoyable. It's mostly made for the reverse flick. But you can slow roll it. If you don't hammer down on the lock bar, if you keep your fingers back, it's easy to slow roll. Nice satin finish and a flat ground blade. Man, I'm just messing this video all up today. So it does have a nice satin finish on this flat ground blade, drop point blade that is extremely useful. I love this blade shape. And very similar to the Centauri, it's very thin. So you're going to have basically the same ergos. It's basically the same handle, I don't think it is the exact same handle, but they are very similar. This one just has a little bit of a finger guard, which is nice, but they feel very similar, very comfortable. I think this one's a little bit more comfortable though, because this is rounded or like chamfer right there, and that sits right in your palm right there. Very nice in the hand for EDC tasks. Nice pinch grips. The action, the lock bar access is the same as the Centauri, so it's not going to give you the best access, but it's, you know, like I said, it's not horrible. It is horrible, but you can get by. You can get by. You just got to put your finger right in the front and smash that lock bar and move it over, and it works just fine. Very drop shutty with the ceramic bearings. Very, very smooth. Awesome micro milling, again, like the Centauri. Milled pocket clip. Different from the Centauri, but still works good. And then we have a hidden lanyard pin back there. The stop pin is in a decent spot as well, right out of the way, because they did not give you a good sharpening choil. Now, if you look at the Centauri, they did. Remember, I said they gave you a good plunge grind is what I'm talking about. Plunge grind starts here, ends here. They give you a lot of life. On this one, they did not. I don't know why they did that. Why they wouldn't have just did the exact same thing. In this case, they did the plunge grind all the way up to the edge. So you see that little smile I did when I sharpened it. It did take a very, very nice edge on this S35 VN blade steel. And yeah, I really like this one. Very good knife. Solid knife. So there you guys go. I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys watching my videos. If you like the content, give me a like. Peace out, guys.